Okay, I think we'll get started. So, like I say, welcome everybody. Coric are delighted to have been invited by ICS to give a webinar today. And today we're going to be talking about very much the Trimble approach to the HS2 project. Presenting the webinar today is myself, Mark Reed, and I'll be joined by Ted from Trimble. In terms of myself, I actually took up the role as UK Sales Director here at Coric at the start of March, just before the pandemic started. Before that, I've been working with Coric, heading up our professional services division for the last couple of years. So when things calm down, hopefully in the next few months, I'm looking forward to being back out there and hopefully meeting many of you in person in the coming weeks and months. The plan is I'll give you a very brief introduction to Coric and Trimble. I'm sure many of you already know who we are and what we do, but I will give you a brief intro on that. What I'll then do is I want to give you a very quick overview of the Trimble solutions that I think are applicable to the HS2 project. That should probably take around about 20 minutes. Then I'll hand over to Ted, and Ted will actually go through how the HS2 survey grid can be used within the Trimble solutions, and also what you need to do if you want to start using that yourself. So very quickly then about Coric. So we are a geospatial solution provider. We supply a lot of different solutions to a lot of different markets. We represent different manufacturers, so including SenseFly for UAVs, for example, GeoSlam handheld scanners, K-matic, GIS software, but primarily we are known as the Trimble distributor for UK and Ireland, and that is supporting, across the range, whether that is the surveying instruments or instruments for construction, mapping, rail and monitoring. We are the supplier for UK and Ireland for those products. And really our overriding mission is by supplying those solutions is to help you to be more efficient, more effective in the projects that you're doing, and that's clearly important on such a large project like HS2. The solutions and the technology you're adopting, can enable us to be as efficient as possible. And I think for me, certainly, one thing that's important there is, yes, we have solutions for capturing information on site and surveying, but importantly, we also need to have a full field to finish solution such that we can actually extract the value out of that survey information that we capture and make decisions on it. And that whole kind of field to finish approach is really key to what we do and what we're going to kind of talk about today. As a business, our main office is there in Huntington. Quite well positioned for the HS2 project. Down in Huntington, we've got our kit there that's getting shipped out. That's where we have our service and repair centre and our stores. We do also have another office up in Liverpool and offices over in Ireland. And as a business, like I say, we supply the range of Trimble solutions, whether that is the core GNSS and robotics, through to more advanced solutions such as laser scanning, mobile mapping, and even mixed reality solutions, which again we will touch on today. But actually, again, what's really important is the software, whether that's field-based software or office-based software. And like I say, that's what brings everything together and allows us to extract value. And Ted will go into a bit of detail after me on how we can apply the HS2 grid within that software, whether that's within the field side of the software or the office-based side of the software. Like I say, we are an authorized Trimble partner, so as well as supplying solutions, we are also a certified workshop for service and repair, and we've obviously got a strong team of technical support team there to support you if you are using our products on the project. And the Coric approach is very much one of technology enablement. So we want Coric and Trimble technology to be used on your projects, and therefore we enable that to happen in many different ways. Obviously, we supply products through sales, but we do have a stocked hire fleet which you can access as well. And importantly, again, couple of years ago I came on board and we set up the professional services team. So the professional services team is actually there to actually offer mobile mapping as a service to survey and engineering companies, so you can actually access technology such as mobile mapping on your projects as well. So whether it's through a supporting service, a hire or a sale, you know, it is possible to access all the technology that we're going to talk about today on your project. And I think it's important that all these things are utilized on a project such as HS2, and obviously backing that up with a dedicated support and training team. And again, mentioned it earlier, the approach is very much one of a data funnel or a field to finish solutions. So, you know, we'll touch on hardware for data collection, but also importantly the software in terms of how we can then process that information, how we can view that information, and how we can analyze it to get to a point where we can make decisions. And like I say, that's what actually brings the value into the solution, that we can actually make real world decisions that are going to impact the project, hopefully saving time, money, and operating as effectively as possible. Okay, so that's a quick overview of Corec. I don't want to dwell on that too much. So just quickly looking at HS2 as a project, many of you will be aware of the project. Obviously, we've got phase 1 that we're looking at now from London up to Birmingham there, and that phase is now being split into 7 lots. So we've got kind of SCS JV looking at S1 and S2 there. We've got a line looking at the Shilton Tunnels Colne Valley area, EK on the C2 and C3 area, and then we've got BBV operating up at the north end there on N1 and N2. So obviously we're talking about, you know, a huge project. We're talking about, you know, a huge survey requirement, and lots of different types of survey on this project, lots of different applications, whether it's excavation, earthworks, monitoring, construction, logistics, you know, lots of different requirements throughout the project. And also you've got a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different contractors, obviously multiple equipment, probably mixed fleets, and a lot of data moving around. So certainly a challenging project, and a project where all these different pieces need to come together for it to be a success. So my view is very much that to do that, field to finish solutions are important. So we need to be able to not just capture information, but actually deliver a result. We need versatile solutions that can be used for different applications, but also at different stages of the project lifecycle, whether that's initial survey or whether it's construction. You know, we need devices that can be used across that. Obviously, we want accurate and reliable solutions that are going to work in some of the harsh environments that we come up against and difficult conditions. And we need, you know, those solutions need to be supported. We want people in the field operating them, and we need the back office support to give that confidence that it can be delivered, and there's people there to support if need be. And particularly on a project like this, we definitely need connected solutions, whether that is connecting the field to the office or the office to all the different stakeholders. Connected solutions are going to be critical to the success of this. And I think also, given the current situation, obviously safe solutions in light of the current pandemic is important. So how can we minimize you know, people's time on site, minimize the number of people going to site, and even minimizing our carbon footprint as well in doing that. So I think they're some of the things that I'm going to quickly cover as I go through the portfolio in the next 10 minutes. So just quickly then on Trimble, again, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Trimble, obviously one of the market leading survey brands across the world, working across different verticals, including the geospatial and the construction side of infrastructure, and certainly a brand that's commonplace on these kind of mega infrastructure projects. I think if I just again mention connectivity there, you can see on that slide it says over 1 million users of Trimble Connect. Actually, last week that was jumped to over 10 million users of Trimble Connect. So it shows how using, you know, connected platforms is becoming even more important during the current situation. But very much, you know, a brand that is used on these large scale projects. And like I say, solutions for every stage of the project, whether it is, at the initial site survey through to multifaceted design approaches to construction, and even the ongoing operation of the infrastructure. That there are solutions there that go across the board. Now, again, if we look at HS2 as a project, I think the challenges are one that are typical to large infrastructure projects, in that, or even large construction projects in general, where obviously with so many different stakeholders, there can be often a problem of data being held in silos, and data not being disseminated across the project. So we need a way of actually ensuring we can share that information effectively and quickly. And essentially, we need to minimize the time from data being captured in the field to actually getting that in the hand of the decision makers, because that's going to save time, it's going to save rework, and it's going to save money on a project like this. And we all know about the budget situation in regards to HS2. So, like I mentioned earlier, I think one of the key things on that is connectivity, and the Trimble approach to that is something called Trimble Connect. Ted will talk about this a bit more after me, but it is very much a cloud-based solution to enable data transfer between the field and the office and vice versa, and also data transfer from the office to the customers and getting the data in the hands of the stakeholders. So, I do feel that for this project, a large infrastructure project, this type of connectivity is really important. So if we drop into the portfolio then, so just quickly give you a quick overview of that, and then you have something to look back to when Ted's talking about how we can apply the HS2 grid to the different solutions there. So obviously we have the core GNSS and robotics running Trimble Access field software. We've got the laser scanning solutions working with Trimble Perspective field software, mobile mapping solutions, and even GIS solutions, all feeding into Trimble Business Center as a as a central hub that can take all the data from all those different devices into the same area. And I think once we have it in that area, we then have a full field to finish workflow inside Trimble Business Center, which allows us to process that data through and actually extract results, which can then be shared to stakeholders or back into the field using Trimble Connect. So if we just drill down into a little bit more detail on that. So we've obviously got the GNSS, so a full portfolio of GNSS solutions, from the entry level Catalyst pay-as-you-go receivers all the way through to the Trimble R12 with ProPoint technology. A fantastic innovation, allowing you to get the shot, get good positioning in what can be challenging GNSS environments, whether that's deep cuts, heavy vegetation. The Trimble R12 can really achieve a lot, and almost meaning you can do much more with the GNSS without having to get the robot out in many cases. So it's certainly an applicable solution to this product, to this project. We've then got the robotics, so the S-Series, from the S5 through to the S9. Again, very flexible, versatile set of robots, all working with active targets, so you can maintain locking in challenging environments. Obviously, we know about Trimble devices working well in bad weather, and again, all can be delivered with L2P for tracking on site. And really are workhorses that can be used at every stage of the project, which is one of the things we said that was really important, whether it is surveying, engineering, monitoring, even guidance for TBMs for the tunneling on a project like this. The same device, the same robot can even be used for campaign monitoring, or even fully automated monitoring with the addition of an M1 comms box and T4D control software. So the same device being used for the survey stage, it can be used for the construction stage, the monitoring stage, and even the installation stage and maintenance stage of the infrastructure. So whether that's, precast slab installation or working with the Tridor, the Trimble Guido track trolley for tamping adjustments to ensure the running speed and the smooth operation of the infrastructure. So very much start to finish, the same range, same core survey products can be used throughout. And both the GNSS and robots all work with the TSC7 controller. So that's a Windows 10 device running Trimble Access. And like I say, Ted will go through how Trimble Access can be used with the HS2 survey grid and how you can update that and start using that now. Very powerful device, and it can really load very large models. So again, on a project like this, you can load large design and alignment data into the TSC7. No need to split up your models to start using it. And obviously, when combined with Trimble Connect, you can transfer those models from the office in TVC down to the TSC7 and back again, which is really important. And I think one of the other things that we found as well is, because it's running Windows 10, we can also run things like TeamViewer and Teams on there, which is really important from kind of the support aspect, that you can have people in the office that can actually remote into the device and have a look, or us as Corec or Trimble can actually remote in and help you as well when you're in the field. So TSC7 is a real powerful solution that really brings the core survey products to life and gives it the functionality that we need. The other robot in the fleet is probably the SX10. A real innovation in the industry, one of the first multi-station type solutions to come out. It is fully robotic, but importantly, it is also a full scanner. So what that means is, in a single device, we can undertake our surveying, our setting out, our scanning, our monitoring, all from a single device. So in terms of actually reducing the amount of kit needed on site or having the versatility that's needed, that this is a fantastic option for us. And I think it is a full robot, and he said it's a full scanner as well. And what I mean by that is, as you can see on the screen there, you do have high resolution, highly accurate data at the full range of the scanner, the kind of 600-meter range of the scanner. So very much a combined robot and scanner. Quickly moving on then, so we have the dedicated laser scanners. So we have the range there, the TX6, TX8, and the recently launched X7. A few lucky guys have already got some out in the UK, and there's more being shipped every week. In terms of quickly on the X7, just a few things which could be applicable to this. One of the things is, obviously, it is a very high performance laser scanner. It's very ruggedized. But importantly, it doesn't need an annual service. It is actually auto calibrating every time it's used. So again, reducing the potential downtime and also obviously cost of ownership, that it doesn't need to be sent off for a service every year. But really what the X7 is delivering is performance laser scanning and on the fly in the field registration. So a complete registration in the field. Once you have that, you have your data, and you also have the registration report on there as well, which is obviously really important, that you have the accuracy report of what you've achieved and the registration report of what you've achieved in the field. And the data that comes out of the X7, is kind of agnostic. It can go into the Trimble portfolio, but again, on a project like this where you may have different software or different fleets, that point cloud that comes from the X7 can go straight into the likes of Autodesk or Bentley Solutions or other design packages. So again, minimizing any conversion that's needed or data transfer requirements. Very quickly on the mobile mapping side as well. So mobile mapping is a fantastic option if you want to cover a large area and you want to do it quickly and accurately, but you also want to minimize boots on ground. And again, during the current situation, it's a fantastic solution for undertaking topo and, like I say, reducing the amount of surveyors that we actually need on the ground and getting information turned around very, very quickly. So our team with professional services are out there every week on projects delivering topos, and it's certainly a solution which I think could help on this project, either through delivering the solutions to yourselves or supporting you through a managed service. And like I say, from a mobile mapping perspective, there is a range of solutions there, whether it's the MX2, which can be put onto quad bikes for maybe doing earthworks, through to the MX9, which is the high-end survey grade solution, using a fiber optic IMU and 2 lasers there, each doing 1 million points a second. So we are getting 2 million points a second at 5 mil relative accuracy, along with high resolution imagery from the panoramic camera and the down and side facing cameras. So like I say, a great solution for getting high resolution data very quickly. What you can see is mobile mapping data inside Trimble Business Center. So you can see kind of imagery there, how you can move around the imagery, but also we can move that on and start to see how we can actually bring together the imagery and the point cloud together inside Trimble Business Center. And like I said earlier, Trimble Business Center is an environment where you can bring all your different data sets together. So you have your mobile mapping data, but you can also bring together your terrestrial scan data, your UAV data, your traditional survey data, all within the same environment. And then from that, within the Trimble portfolio, we have Trimble MX, which we can use to actually start generating deliverables from mobile mapping data, whether that is the topo drawings that we need or asset extractions. So again, mobile mapping, a very, very effective solution for being efficient on such mega projects. Okay, so I'm going to kind of finish off on kind of the software aspect of it, and then we will hand over to Ted to talk specifically about the HS2 grid. So when we look at Trimble Business Center, we really are looking at a field to finish solution that enables different data sets to come together and enables an end-to-end workflow. And like I say, Ted will go through how we can use the HS2 Snakegrid within TBC. And what you can see is it is very much a solution that will work with a mixed fleet. So you can bring in your different Trimble data sets, whether it's from robotics, laser scanning, mobile mapping, you name it, but you can also bring in data from other manufacturers as well. And also it will take in design information as well from different sources, whether that's Autodesk or DGN or different formats. So very much an environment where you can bring all your data together. And then once you're inside the TBC environment, you then have the tools to go through the various workflows that you might need to do, whether that's doing your adjustments, actually doing drafting, volumetrics, doing your alignments, or specific workflows that you need to do. So very much an environment where you can bring all your data together, you can do your registration and your adjustments, you can then extract the information out that you need, and then once you have that information, whether that's a drawing or the information that you've pulled from your survey data, you can then, using Trimble Connect, push that information either back out into the field via the cloud, or you can push it out onto the customers very quickly using the cloud, and they can use things, actually online viewers to view the information. And we can also use Trimble Connect to push the information back into things like Sight Vision, such that the design can actually be taken back out into the field. So Sight Vision, as you can see on the screen there, it's an augmented reality solution which combines a Catalyst GPS antenna for precise positioning with an augmented reality app that will run on the mobile phone there. So what it's allowing you to do is overlay your design information through what you can see on the camera in the field. So you can actually view and interrogate detailed CAD information overlaid on the camera in the field, including the attributes that are on there. So very good for obviously visualizing what might be underneath the ground, but on a project like this, also very good for visualizing a design above ground against the progress of construction. So actually verifying if construction is being done correctly, verifying if construction is on track as to where it should be. You can see there, because we have the GPS on board, how accurately the CAD is overlaid, and even a large structure like a bridge there. So, a fantastic tool for being used in the field and to bringing that design information back to life. You can see there, looking at earthworks, whether they're at the correct level that's required. And really what we're seeing is on these large projects, it's been adopted because it's a means of collaboration. It can bring a lot of people together and enable them to view the design in the field. So it's being used for daily site briefings to show where things should be going, to look at safety briefings of where things should and shouldn't be, and also through the construction verification process. So again, very much taking us full cycle from initial surveying and setting out all the way to actually then bringing design back in the field and verifying construction. So just to summarize then, before I head over to Ted and he can go into some technical details specifically around the HS2 grid, that I do think we very much have field to finish solutions, particularly using Trimble Access and Trimble Business Center. We've got versatile and reliable solutions that can use in different applications, difficult conditions, can reduce downtime, and can be used at very much every stage of the project. And we've got solutions that are going to help you to kind of capture data fast and reduce the number of people that need to be on site, whether that is for safety reasons or to speed up the project. And like I say, with the use of Trimble Connect, very much a connective solution to ensure that all stakeholders are connected and we're getting data as quickly as possible from the field into the hands of the decision makers. Okay, so I've gone through a lot there, hopefully giving you a very quick overview of the portfolio, so you can now, when Ted is talking, you can understand how that applies back to the product solutions that we have. So what I'll do now is I will hand over to Ted, and he can go through HS2 Survey Grid and how that is implemented within the Trimble portfolio. So let me see if I can pass the presentation over.
Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you very much. First of all, just again want to extend out a thank you for the invite for doing this. My name is Tor Erik Djupos, or Ted, as most people call me. I'm sure that many of you out there know who I am. I'm going to go into the kind of more practical side of some of this, and then specifically, I'm going to talk a little bit more about our implementation of the new HS2 survey grid, and then particularly for those of you who have Trimble equipment, how you can get this loaded, updated, and so on. And then at the end, I'll just talk a little bit about some of our recent updates on specifically on Trimble Access. As we all know, we do also have support for the more traditional Snakegrid system. So this was a system that came out, I can't remember how many years ago, but I think we implemented the first version of the traditional Snakegrid system back with the old survey controller systems. And that has transitioned over to Trimble Access, or what we call the legacy Trimble Access, and now also is supported in the current version of Trimble Access. So this is the system that was developed by University College London. And I just also want to say that even though there is a new survey grid, we still have support for this legacy or this Snakegrid systems out there. So there is a lot of project that doesn't necessarily link to the HS2 system that still uses this this Snakegrid system, the so-called DAT file, and we do still have support for that in most of our software solutions. What we do also now have support for is the new grid. So I think it was probably sometimes mid last year we were contacted by the HS2.org that told us they were working on a new system that was basically based on the NTV2 transformation. So a transformation system that's more in line with how the Ordnance Survey is doing their traditional systems. So they contacted us, asked if this was a system that we could implement. So we got all the data. and we sent that through, and that is now implemented into our core geodetic database, and is slightly or slowly finding its way out to the various types of products that's using it. So the way we do this internally in Trimble is that we have a core geodetic team that maintain a centralized database of all our coordinate systems, and then the various different products, or the product managers that manage these products, they will then update their products as the natural life cycle of the product to be updated. And the first one is TBC, because it's basically been pushed out there straight away. So that's the survey grid itself. Then a little bit later, we were again contacted to also make an update to the 2 specialized geoid models that was made for the HS2, so the HS2 GM02 and the HS2 GM15. So both the grid and the geoid models are now ready, and they're filtering out into the products we have, and we have a little look at how to get this updated. So from where is this standard? As I say, we do update this in a core geodetic database, and then this is flowing out into the products. So as of TBC, or Trimble Business Center, Coordinate System Database 89 and onwards, so I think that will mean TBC 521 and onwards, the HS2 implementation is part of TBC. So whenever you install TBC or update TBC, you will find that coordinate system with its supporting files being part of that, and I will go through how to see that. Also, Trimble Access, and we have actually currently kind of running 2 versions of Trimble Access. It is what we call the legacy access, or the yellow and gray version. So from 2017-24, the HS2 coordinate system is part of that, and from Trimble Access 2019 onwards, this is the new kind of blue-white system. The HS2 coordinate system is part of that. Now, when I say part of it, it basically means that the coordinate system database is there. What you as a user need to do specifically on the Access is to copy over the datum shift grid files. So there's one for 02, there's one for 15, and it's one for each of the geoids. So this is pretty much the same way as you do with the standard ordnance survey files. So it's the same type here. You need a couple of files that you need to log over, copy over to the logger, and we look a little bit on how to do that. So how do we get this set up? So how do we get it onto TBC, and how do we get it onto Trimble Access? So the 2019 version, which is the blue, and also the 2017 version, which is the yellow and gray. So we look at how to do that. If we start with TBC, Trimble Business Center, the first one, if you've updated to the latest version of TBC, the chances is that it's already there. If not, you can go into the support tab and you can basically press the check for updates. And things like coordinate system databases is something that we pushes out through the cloud system. Alternatively, you can start the coordinate system manager within TBC and then go to help and press check for updates, and it will list up. And if there is something for it to update, you will see a list of it, and then you can basically click it, it will install it, and it will update your version of Trimble Business Center. And from then on, it will basically pull down the files, put it into the correct place on TBC, and whenever you open a project and start running it, you will see the coordinate system is part of where it needs to be. In terms of the data logger, there is a couple of ways you can do that. You can take these files and you can copy them over, but you can also use the cloud service that comes with it. So for anybody that buys a copy of Trimble Access today, will also automatically get 3 copies of Trimble Connect. And you heard Mark mention something about Trimble Connect, which is it's a collaboration platform or a cloud solution that we're using horizontally in Trimble between our heavy civil, our building, geospatial, as a place basically to work with and collaborate in terms of sharing data. And we also use Trimble Connect as a platform for transitioning various type of data, so sending work data either between Trimble Business Center, so sending that out to Trimble Access and Site Vision, or the other way around, that you have field data that needs to go back again. In terms of Trimble Access and between Business Center, you can either send it directly to Connect, or you can also send it through what we call Trimble Sync Manager. And Trimble Sync Manager is a desktop application that uses Trimble Connect, but it uses it in a little bit more clever way in terms of working with the data that goes to Trimble Access, as it lets you basically create jobs and automatically attach the right files, such as coordinate system files and so on and so on. So that's one way to do that. So I'm going to show that a little bit live here now, just so you get a feeling for how that is. So if I start with TBC, just to show that bit, you can see TBC here now as a project. What I talked about in terms of going to the support tab and check for updates, it will now go in and it will check whether there is any updates. I don't have any updates to do it, but if it was, you would see that there was an updated version here that I could tick. And I can then install the update and it will do so. Alternatively, here is the Coordinate System Manager. So this is the part of TBC that contains all our coordinate systems. And I can go to the help and I can say check for updates, and it will do the same, but this one it will only look for the coordinate system side itself. As this is updated, I can actually go in and I can find, and if you go down to the United Kingdom, you will now see there is a new entry here, which is called HS2. So this is the traditional ordnance survey with the OSTN 02 and OSTN 15. And here is a new entry, which is called HS2. And also, if you go in and you look at the properties on that one, and then specifically the geoid model, you can see that the specific geoid models that belong to that specific grid is put in per default. So if I wanted to start a new project, I can basically press the new project button. I can go in and I can then choose, for example, the coordinate system I want to use. And to go to there, it's HS2. And for example, if I pick the 15, go next, and I can pick the predefined one, or I can set something different that I want to use, and I say finish. Now that project is set up as an HS2. I can also go in and I can save this as a template, and next time I start this one, it will always start with that particular, and you can do that with any of the other systems that you want to run. So that's the TBC side of things. Basically go online, check for updates, and it will download and install the files in the right place. I'm going to look at the first version of Trimble Access, or the latest version of Trimble Access, which is the blue version, or the new version. And I'm going to show that through Sync Manager. As I say, Sync Manager is basically a desktop application that everybody that buys Trimble Access will have the capability to use. So I created a little project, and a project can be as a project. You can upload data there, but you can also have project files. So if you have many loggers connected to that project, whenever you want to update your data, such as coordinate system, it will automatically do so for you. So here I'm going to create a job. So rather than creating that job on my data logger, I will basically create it here on my desktop. And I will go in and I will choose the coordinate system. You have a map space here, which is basically starting off as a world. You can zoom in and then we will filter down all the coordinate systems. So it will only give you the coordinate system that's relevant for you to work with. So I'm picking that one and I'm clicking save. So this is basically the same as you do when you're setting up the system. Automatically, the Sync Manager will copy in the correct files. So we'll copy in the datum shift grid files here, and also the right geoid file here. So anybody that connects to this project afterwards, if they don't have this on their loggers, it will automatically log on to this one. So I basically say create, and it will now go and create that particular job. Excuse me. So while it's doing that, just gonna take a few seconds here for it to finish. There we go. Now the job is created. So I'm just gonna close down this one. In this case, I would have my T10, TDC600, TSC7 or something like that, which I can log on to. I'm going to log on to my emulator that sits on this this computer, but the thing here that would be in the field for it. As soon as that open, I can set up kind of an online version of Trimble Access or an offline version of Trimble Access. And right now I can see that it's online because that's how it's preset. And as soon as that, my various Trimble Connect project will start filtering through, and I can see these coming in as they are here. And here we can see my HS2 webinar. You can see there's a job sitting there. I can say download, and straight away, because this emulator doesn't have the grid files I need, it will automatically pull this down. If I had them sitting on there, it wouldn't do so. So basically I say download, it will put them in and will put it into the right place. And then I take the job itself. And there we go. Now the project is basically set up. The logger has the data and the job is set up as you would do that in the field. I can check it. I can go into my properties and we can see here that it's set up as a separate system. And if I can go in here, this is what it would look like. You can also do it manually. You can copy the files over. And then you can go in and set the same thing. So the system, United Kingdom HS2, zone, use geoid model, yes. And that's the geoid model to use. Use datum grid, yes. And that's the datum grid file to use. And then, of course, if you want to check, you can, of course, take, for example, HS2 control point, ETRS 89 coordinates, put them in and see that they transform correctly to the grid coordinates that they should. And that's, of course, also a test that we have done and gone through. That's the new version of Trimble Access. I'm also going to show it on what we call the legacy version of Trimble Access. Now, the Trimble Sync Manager was something that came with the new version of Trimble Access. So for those of you running this version, you'll have to simply copy the files over. So for example, if I say General Survey, I go New Job, and then I go in here and I select the system. So we can see that the HS2 system is here. It is updated as a database, but it's missing the datum shift grid files it need in order to run. And it is basically these ones. So this is the 2002, 15. So I can take all these ones, copy them. So whether it's a TSC3 or a TSC7 you're running this on, you need to copy it onto what we call the system, like the systems folders. So here I will go to Trimble program data. This is why it's easy to use Sync Manager for this, because it does all this for you. And then you have the system files. So basically paste that in. It will be the same on a TSC3. You just take these 4 files and you copy them in. If I now go in, new job, and I go in and I select from library, we go to there we go. Now I have the capability to pick it, use geoid model. Now we have the specific geoid model, and now we have the specific datum grid that we want. And then we say store, and the system is up and running. That's basically how you get the data over. For TBC, it comes by automatically the downloading. For Trimble Access 2019 and onwards, you can use Sync Manager or you can copy it over. Or for the legacy version of Trimble Access, you get the 4 files and you simply copy it over. So I'm going to keep on here with a little bit of presentation. So what about older version of Trimble Access? For those of you who are running a version of Trimble Access older than 2017, 2024. Now, our recommendation will, of course, always be to update your logger so you have one of these versions, because it's basically an integrated part of that version. It's part of it with all the other feature and functionality that we keep adding in. However, you can also get this set up on all the units. What you have to do then, if you have TBC, or I'm sure this is also something that Cora can do for you, is you need to export out a custom-made system out of TBC. So there's a set process for that, where you're basically picking the systems you want. So for example, you could pick your UK systems with the HS2, and you save it as what we call a custom CSD, custom coordinate system database. This custom coordinate system database can be copied over together with the datum shift grid files you just saw into the system folder on Trimble Access. The default one is called current, but if it gets the custom, that would take precedence. So when you next time start Trimble Access, it will then show the coordinate system you exported out as custom. And if you then also copied over the datum shift grid files with the geoids, you will also have the HS2 coordinate system on an older version of your Trimble Access version. So that's how that works. So then towards the end here, I just wanted to also mention that we just had an update to Trimble Access, which is called Trimble Access 2020. It was quite a big update for us. For those of you who haven't, have a look at it. I think it's full of a lot of interesting things. We've done quite a lot of work on the measure code systems that I know are quite popular in the UK in terms of how you can manipulate them and set them up, and the grid layout and these type of things. We improved on the CAD toolbar. We've added in some snapping toolbars and so on. We also keep improving on our IFC handling. So we see more and more requests for working with this type of thing. So you have the capability to use limit boxes, both with the scanning data and also the models. Better interaction with the models in terms of extracting center points, end of points. So measuring from surfaces, comparison to surfaces, and so on, and also starting to work more with objects in the access in the IFC file directly. So this is something we will keep enhancing on. We talked a little bit about Trimble Sight Vision, of course, which is our augmented reality system where you can upload models and you can go out and you can then view these models in real life. So we're extending and we're starting to kind of implement this type of technology into other systems too. So for example, some of the machine control system is starting to look at this. And one of the things we've done is for those of you using an SX10, you can now take these IFC files that you had before, and you can also use this in an augmented reality situation where we basically put the 3D model into the live video feed of the system. Of course, you can't walk around with it, but different, for example, to the sight vision stuff, you can actually zoom in and so on and so on. And also because this is a total station and we have some of the parameters that we don't have with sight vision, it's much more accurate and very stable, because we always have a solid orientation for it. So for those of you who have an SX10, it's definitely something I think you should have a look at to see how this is working. Another thing with 2020 is it's also the first version that we introduced the capability to use Trimble Access on an Android device. So for those of you who are interested in a system that is a bit smaller and lighter than the TSC7, the Trimble TSC7, which is a kind of ruggedized mobile phone platform, a little bit bigger. we have now implemented Trimble Access onto this platform, and as you can see, it is absolute Trimble Access, similar as you will see on the TSC7, but you can use it in both portrait and also landscape mode, and it's as well. And it works with the same instruments. There's some limitations in it specifically towards the SX10, and so on, simply because the SX10 and specifically the camera side of it is using some other component. But it's a great extra data logger for those, specifically those who want to have something that's a little bit smaller. So just to summarize here, I think we're starting to come up towards the hour. I'm in the moment in the process of creating a document that kind of go through the download and setup, description of how to get this onto your system. It should be ready quite soon, that I will distribute out, but the grid files and everything to get it on there is already ready for anybody that wants to do that. The datum shift guide and the geoid files, they're all part of Sync Manager. So if you just log on to this one, you will automatically download them without doing anything more if you want to do that. I also know that these files will be available through Trimble and Corex support. So those of you who want to go that way and just simply copy them over, you can contact them and they will be able to supply them and send them over. And with that, I conclude my little presentation on the HS2 side of things. And I think that was basically it for now, Mark.
Yes, thanks, Ted. That's great. That was good. So yeah, so very much a clear overview there of how you can use the HS2 survey grid now on your solutions. You know, if you do need any assistance on that, then obviously certainly reach out to us here at Corec, and we're happy to help you on that. If anyone does have any more questions, like I say, feel free to reach out to myself, Ted, or anyone at Corec. You can contact us on the central email there, info@corecgroup.com, and certainly go and connect to us on LinkedIn as well, and we're happy to talk to you further. So unless anyone else has any particular questions now, I'll say a big thank you to you, Ted. It's been a very informative webinar, and thank you to ICS for giving us the opportunity to talk to you all, and thank you all for listening today. Have a good day. Okay.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.